Now let's get to our daily cancellation.
Matt Walsh, you silly boy. I've been canceled by better men than you. There's no such thing as bad publicity, so thank you, first of all, for featuring me.
Today we cancel a woman named Laura Jedeed, who identifies herself in her Twitter bio as a freelance journalist. She has apparently been paid, I assume she was paid anyway, to write for publications like New York Magazine and Rolling Stone. And if you're wondering what sort of stories she chases down, what kind of journalistic investigations she conducts, well, here's her latest expose. Okay, She poured through years of my tweets and other posts going back to 2012.
Oh, no. I did a date search, Matt. It's Twitter advanced search. You should check it out. It's actually really easy.
To find out how I responded to previous mass shootings and to compare those responses to what I've said about the Covenant School shooting. And the results are shocking, or shocking to her anyway, apparently. So she thinks she's got me here. She thinks she has something big. It's just not clear what exactly that is. So let's go through this thread together. Laura writes, quote, "Good morning. Let's compare Matt Walsh's reaction to the Nashville Covenant School shooting with other shootings that involve the murder of very young children." She provides some screenshots of my tweets over the past few days. It's all right in line with what you've heard me say on the show. I talk about how, I have 9-year-old children myself. I can't imagine the pain of losing them. I say that we should always remember what happened at Covenant School. I talk about the danger posed by trans extremists. And all of that, all that you've heard me cover. Now she moves to the past. Quote, "Uvalde, Texas, 5/24/2022, 19 elementary school children, 2 teachers dead. Only a soulless piece of shit would politicize the shooting of elementary school children. Perpetrator should burn in hell. Armed security is the answer." Here she's summarizing accurately what I tweeted in response to that shooting. She continues, "Parkland, Florida, 2/14/18, 17 dead, most between 14 and 18. Walsh, do not politicize this. Don't make this about mental illness. Have you read this great speech? LOL Valentine's Day." Walsh posted the Valentine's Day tweets after he retweeted a news item on the shooting. So here she summarizes again, less accurately. In the screenshots, you see that I sent a tweet calling for armed security in schools. I make the point that a government building that houses our children should be protected, just like we protect almost any other government building. I also talk about the problem of human evil. How this comes down not merely to mental illness, or policy failure, but to evil. She screenshots this tweet of mine. "Evil is everywhere." This is me now. "Evil is everywhere, around us and within us. It may make us feel safer to pretend it's a political issue or a policy issue, but we are fooling ourselves."
So, by the way, Matt, this is actually a place where we agree. I do notice that you left out of your little cancellation of me that I am a gun owner and support the Second Amendment, because that would have confused the narrative. I get that. But I actually totally agree with you that this is a spiritual problem. Now, I don't agree with you on anything after that. I don't think that the answer is any of the things that you do.
And then there's a tweet of mine about fatherlessness and how that contributes to violence as well. Continuing to the next part of Laura's thread.
Oh, no, Matt, you got to talk about the Valentine's Day thing. I'll throw it up here. So you tweeted, "My heart goes out to the victims," and no bashing that, by the way. Like, what is there to say when this stuff happens? That all you can do is express sadness. But there was no, never forget what they did to you. I'm overwhelmed with grief. I can't imagine this happening to me. There was none of that. There was, "My heart goes out to the victims." And then an hour later, I'm at a bar on Valentine's Day and everyone thinks I'm single, but I'm going home with my lovely wife. LOL. Maybe I can get someone to buy me a drink because they think I'm so lonely. This is not the way that a man stricken with grief types. And it's just really hard to ignore that. But you do manage it, so congratulations. Let's continue.
She writes, quote, 12-year-old Tamir Rice's murder at the hands of a policeman in 2014 wasn't a school shooting, but he was only 3 years older than the 9-year-olds who died in Tennessee. Let's see what Matt Walsh had to say about that. What's that? Nothing? Just tweets about BLM writ large? Cool. Walsh didn't have a Twitter account in 2012.
So we're just going to skip over that then. We're just not going to.
Walsh didn't have a Twitter account in 2012 when Adam Lanza killed 26 people at Sandy Hook Elementary School. But here's some of the stuff that he wrote on his blog. And she here provides a screenshot of a blog post that I wrote where I talk about the futility of gun control. She ends her thread with this. At no point during my combing through Matt Walsh's disgusting Twitter feed this morning have I found a single expression of howling grief at the genuine horror of children dead at the barrel of a gun, at least not until a trans person killed them. Now, Laura's Twitter followers have championed her investigative work on this issue, celebrating this as a damning report that exposes my rank hypocrisy and fraudulence. Here are a few reactions from leftists responding to or sharing this thread. This is what they're saying. Quote, an incredibly obvious conclusion can be made here, and that's that people have agendas. This is a smoking gun for Matt Walsh and all the conservatives acting like they really care about the issue at hand. Another says, thread of proof that Matt Walsh is a bigoted, Nazi-loving monster who cares about nothing but pushing his own fear-mongering trite. I think they mean tripe. Another one, a thread which more than proves that Matt Walsh is a hypocritical, craven bloodsucker who exploits tragedies for his own self-satisfaction and need for clout. Another one says, this should disqualify Matt Walsh in every argument he attempts to make. Another one, this thread is an incredible breakdown of how inconsistent a far-right extremist like Matt Walsh is when discussing the horrifying loss of children's lives due to shootings, especially when he feels he can exploit it for his own transphobic crusade. Now, meanwhile, people with IQs somewhere above refrigerator temperatures are left confused. I mean, where exactly is the disqualifying hypocrisy? Where is the incredible inconsistency they think they've found? Because what she's really discovered here is that I've been saying the same things about these tragedies, making the same kinds of points, hammering the same themes over and over again for years. She has exposed not my inconsistency, but my consistency. She has gone through my closet in search of skeletons and discovered instead 50 versions of the same flannel shirt, basically, which is actually what you would find in my real closet.
Matt, you are consistent in your opposition to gun control. You are consistent in your condemnation of the people who do these things and saying that their individual souls will burn in hell. You are consistent until this time, and we'll get to that in a second, about not wanting to politicize the tragedy. What you're not consistent in, Matt, and what people, all of us refrigerator IQ people understood from the jump, is it's the emotion that's not consistent, Matt. It's the pathos.
And this is supposed to make me look dishonest for reasons that remain quite mysterious. I'm not even feigning ignorance here for comedic effect. I honestly don't know exactly where she or the left is sharing this thread imagine the hypocrisy is.
Tell you what, Matt, if you can find me one example of you blaming an ideology or a group of people for any of the shootings that involved a shooter with like right-wing or white supremacist inclinations, I will apologize to you publicly. Your ignorance, your confusion, allow me to set it straight. When white supremacists left manifestos and shot people, you had nothing to say about the ideology behind that. It's only now, with an ideology that you obsessively hate, that suddenly the problem is the group and not the individual. Everybody's an individualist until it's a collective you dislike.
She says that I only express grief over the murder of the children at Covenant School, but not over any of these other shootings. Yet you can see my expressions of grief about those other shootings in the very tweets that she screenshots. Also, since we're going back to 2012 to read my obscure blog, which I was writing as a no-name small market radio host, here's what I posted on the day that the Sandy Hook massacre happened.
Walsh is going to talk about something that I missed from 2012, and I am genuinely sorry that I missed this. I did try. Matt Walsh will not believe me when I say that it was an accident, but it was. I didn't see it. And for that, I am truly sorry. I do want to point out, Matt, that your website is really hard to navigate. You don't have, your archives are kind of like Twitter, where that's just kind of a cascade. You don't have it organized by month or year. And so in order to find out what you did say about Sandy Hook, I had to use archive.org. Again, it's not an excuse. I should have found it. And I am profoundly sorry about it. So like I said, I've already posted it on Twitter. It's the best I can do.
And Laura conveniently forgot to mention this. She went all the way back to see what I wrote about Sandy Hook massacre. Well, it turns out, and I didn't even remember writing this, I wrote something on the day that it happened, a direct response to it, and here's what I said. This is a day when I hate my job. I don't want to go on the air and talk about 26 people being killed at an elementary school. I don't want to talk about 18 children being slaughtered by a cowardly, satanic piece of worthless filth. I have no commentary to offer on this. I have nothing but anger and confusion, and I have prayers. I pray not only for the families of the children who have been stolen from the world, but I pray for all of us. I pray that God will heal this nation because we are deeply spiritually broken. Evil is very present among us. Don't ask if we have enough laws or enough medication or too many guns or too many video games. Ask why there is so much evil in this country. That's the question. I don't have the answer, but I know God is the solution. So that's what I wrote at the time. That's me expressing grief. That's me pointing to the problem of evil and spiritual decay. That's me saying that the solution cannot be found through policy changes or psychiatric medication. That's me saying exactly what I always say about these things. That's me saying everything that I said on this show yesterday about the Covenant School shooting over a decade later and saying the same things.
Now, again, sorry for leaving that out. I don't actually think that it changes my overall point about the tone. This is a howling declaration of sadness on behalf of the murdered children. But it is emphatically not a call for vengeance or action against the ideology that drove the Sandy Hook shooter.
Presumably, Laura would claim that the real hypocrisy is in the fact that, I'm decrying the politicization of school shootings in the past, and yet have called out the violence of radical trans activists in response to this latest shooting.
Bingo.
And it's true. I do oppose the politicization of school shootings, while also opposing the rampant hate and violence in the gender ideology movement. I hold both of those views, and they are not in conflict with one another.
Matt, they are totally in conflict with one another. The way that you are expressing the second is by doing the thing that you decry in the first. It is the vehicle by which you are advancing your absolutely psychotic hatred of trans people through politicizing a tragedy immediately. Look, it doesn't even matter what my opinion is about politicizing tragedy. This isn't actually about me, although I do love that you're making it all about me because I am a giant narcissist and I do love attention. But this is about you for, 11 years, as you point out, asking people not to politicize tragedy or to use children as pawns in these things, and you immediately saying that this proves everything that you've ever thought about the trans agenda. And this is a policy position, Matt. This is political.
As I outlined yesterday in great detail, trans activists regularly call for violence. They regularly engage in intimidation, emotional blackmail, harassment, threats, etc. They feel entitled to act out this way, and they are implicitly and sometimes explicitly given permission to do so. And I think that that is a bad thing. I think that this will and does result in chaos and bloodshed because it's designed to.
I don't think that it's true at all that, like, trans ideology, as you call it, inherently leads to these things. And I actually talk about this at length in my Substack. I really think that if you're curious about what I think, if you want to know, then you should maybe check it out, because I actually go into at length why I think that the transness of this shooter is a lot less relevant than the ideological nature of some of the white supremacists that have shot people. Like, I have a whole argument, whether you agree with it or not. If you're curious, if you're intellectually curious about what people think and you want to have like a rational discourse dialogue or whatever, you should just read the thing, because I lay this all out. Anyway.
Okay, that's not my political view. It's not something I'm saying to score political points, which is what it means to politicize something. I'm saying it because it's the cold reality of the situation.
Matt, that's not how politics works. Like, people who advance gun control also think that the cold, hard reality is that guns are bad. That's what they think. That's politics is advancing some kind of policy. Ideology is political, especially when you're a political commentator. You don't get to cop this out. Oh, it's not political because it's true. That's such a weird thing to say. It's like, I don't even know how to respond to it. The idea that your opinion isn't political because it's true. So I've thought about it for a little bit. That's why it's dark now. And I think I get it, actually. I think I understand what you're saying. To you, it's not political because politics is about policy. Politics is about negotiation. It's about trying to figure out something that everyone can live with. It's basically a means of arriving at a consensus. Politics is. And what you're saying, Matt, I think pretty directly, actually, is that you're not looking for that kind of solution. You don't have any interest in a consensus. You don't have any interest in persuading. You don't have any interest in democratically deciding what happens next. You don't care about any of that. You have decided that this is non-negotiable for you. You don't care what I think. You don't care what anybody thinks. If you're not going to convince people with politics or dialogue, then the only avenue left to you is force, Matt. What you are saying explicitly, as far as I can tell, is that your hatred of trans people is not political because it's not a negotiable thing for you. This isn't political to you because you're an authoritarian. This isn't political to you because you don't have any desire to have a debate. This isn't political to you because you've already decided that you're going to make this happen by any means necessary. And that scares the shit out of me.
The gender ideology movement is, once again, the most hateful and violent movement in America, and it's not even close. If this is a political statement, well, that's only because one political party, the Democrat Party, has decided to attach itself to this movement and act as its mouthpiece and enforcement mechanism. That's not my fault. I didn't tell Democrats to sell their souls to the gender cult. They did that on their own. So yes, I am opposed to trans terrorists slaughtering children. I am opposed to politicians using mass shootings to score political points. I am opposed to trying to solve the problem of human evil with gun control policies.
Which I also oppose, you
I don't think it can be sufficiently addressed with psychiatric medication, which I think very often can do more harm than good. I believe that we're in a state of cultural rot and decay.
I think so too.
I believe that there's an emptiness and hopelessness at the core of so many people in our society.
Couldn't agree
and this
more.
is what fundamentally drives them to commit these heinous acts of evil.
Yeah, except that I don't think that stems from the trans ideology. I think that stems from, well, capitalism. You won't like that answer at all, will you?
I think the collapse of the nuclear family is a huge part of this equation. I think we need a spiritual revival in this country. I think all of these things have always thought them, have always said them, will continue saying them, which may make me boring and it may make me predictable. Certainly doesn't make me a hypocrite, though. But it does make you, Laura, today canceled.
Matt, it doesn't make me canceled. I've been canceled, Matt. I've been canceled so hard I had to leave a city. You can't cancel me, you silly boy. You ridiculous human being. I really do try to have empathy for the people that I cover. If you actually read any of my stuff, you would know that what I do is I write about conservatives and the American far right, and not everybody likes what I do, but actually a lot of people on your team, big air quotes on that, don't hate the way that I approach it. Some of them do, not all of them though, because I actually try to engage with the ideas of the people that I oppose. I'm interested and curious about why people believe what they do. I think it's really cool that I get to do this job. And yes, Matt, I do get paid enough to live, which is amazing. I think that's why I've always had such a problem with you, because you are fundamentally incurious, Matt. I just feel like you don't even want to know why people disagree with you. You have no interest. You cling to this idea that it's all been figured out, all the answers are in the Bible, and that's it. Like, you don't have to think. You can turn off your brain and just be mad. I understand that feels better than trying to actually confront the real rifts in this country and trying to heal them. I get that completely. I just, it makes me sad. But anyway, Matt, I do appreciate the shout out. I really hope that your fans come and engage with me. I'd love to hear from them. And I'm very serious, Matt. If you would ever like to debate me, I would love to debate you. I have so much to say to you. I don't think you're a particularly serious person, and I don't think you do very well debating me, which is why I suspect you will not acknowledge that I said this and never respond. Anyway, in conclusion, debate me, you coward. Thanks for canceling me. Have a really, really lovely day, you silly, silly man.